Peace, 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 family. Peace. Give me 1 second. We'll be right back. Gotta purify some things and we'll be right back. Peace, 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 family. I always want to let my family know, man, we also on YouTube and it's free. My page is Kareem Adnan Hakeem Goodman Bay. So the page is free. So if you want to see a plethora of lectures and informative lectures and scholarly lectures, go on my YouTube page. So today, what we're going to do, we're going to clear up some spookism and we're going to share some facts about the Moorish Science Temple of America. And we're going to illuminate the Yoso Samo Code, the true name of the Hebrew God. We're going to talk about the Free Blacks of Israel Hill. And I'm going to give you the esoteric meanings of the 12 tribes for you can really understand what that's all about. But a lot of Moors are confusing people. And I like to tell my brothers and sisters, Europe has nothing to do with your nationality. I know too many Moors and Asiatic people from Europe. A lot of Moors just buy books and they don't read them, or they post memes. If you read the Ancient and Modern Britons from David McRitchie, you will understand that about geographical landmass. We also got to clear up the spookism that the Bible is written by about white people and all this. And I say you missing the whole essence of it. So we're going to clear some spookism up, because Moors, we are from the tribe of Judah, the lineage of David. The same thing the biblical scriptures talk about. So you must get into the essence and stop letting people connotate you with spookism. So without further ado, Moors, we got to put things in an atmosphere, because we are spiritual people. And if you let somebody tell you not spiritual, and the Moor talking about, well, I don't deal with all that stuff, I deal with civics. They don't deal with civics because they don't even study law. They just studying stuff to make them feel like they privileged and go to court with false information and lies and get other people in trouble. I tell Moors, it's a difference from the right to drive and the right to operate a motor vehicle. Driver's license has nothing to do with a federal law. It's not, it's state law. You got to understand why certain things are regulated. If Moors haven't read this Circle 7 Quran, half of the Moors that I know, they don't even have this book. This book talk about the 18 missing years of Yahshua's life. In chapter 11, verse 43, it tells you about the Hebrew God is the deity of Allah. Read it. The Hebrew prophet is the rising star of wisdom defied. He brings to us a knowledge of the secret things of Allah, and all the world will hear his words and glorify his name. You priests of the temple of Kapvistu, stay, be still, and listen. When he speaks, he is the living oracle of Allah. And all the priests gave thanks and praised Buddha of enlightenment. Come on, man. Moors just lying to people, brothers and sisters, because they don't study. They don't read, and they don't care about reading, Moors. All I see is Moors running to court and getting in trouble and getting other Moors in trouble. That's all they doing. Also, our secret mysteries of the mysteries of the silent brotherhood of the East. It's simple, man. The circle is the symbol of the perfected man, and the 7 is the number of the perfected man. The logos is the perfected word, that which creates, that which destroys, and that which saves. This Hebrew master is the logos of the Holy One, Moors. The circle of the human race, the 7 of time. You got to know this, man. Peace, Empress. Peace, Empress. We got to know this. So we're going to clear up this this false doctrine, talking about the biblical scriptures. And I don't care what Bible you get. You can get the King James. You can get the Holy Name. You can get the God Name Bible. That book is a geography map of the followers of Yahshua and the continent of Africa, a Kebalan, whatever you want to call it. If you follow my page, I give you all the scriptures when it talk about our bonnets and our fez is what we wear in the biblical scriptures. In the biblical scriptures. Let me see if I got that for you still. Hold on, Morris. I don't want to. I got so much stuff everywhere, man. All my teachings. Let's see. Let's see, did I put it somewhere else? Hold on. Here we go. Before we go on and get into this teaching, when I tell you Exodus 29:6, and you shall set the turban on his head and put the holy crown on the turban. And put the holy crown on the turban. Exodus 28:4. These are the garments which they shall make: a breastpiece, and an ephod, and a robe, and a tunic of checkered work, a turban, and a sash. And they shall make holy garments for Aaron your brother and his sons, that he may minister as a priest to me. Job 29:14. I put on the righteousness, and it clothed me. My justice was like a robe and a turban. Read Leviticus 8:9, Leviticus 16:4, Zechariah 3:5, Ezekiel 21:25-26, 2 Samuel 1:10, Ezekiel 44:18. It's too much facts, man. It's too much facts. We're talking about the Hebrew guy. We ain't talking about no mistranslation. We got to know that it was the world's 16 crucified saviors. If we understand, if you study your Circle 7 Quran, the 18 missing years of Yahshua's life, he traveled all over the Mediterranean. That's where all the other teachings come from, Moors. That's where you get. That's where you get all the history of the Tabbathon Book of the Dead. That's where you get the upshots. That's where you get the Bhagavad Gita's from. Come on, man. That's where you get Zoroastrianism. Zoroastrianism. When I saw somebody just always dissing and not studying, I said, man, you must don't know what Zoroastrianism is, because you must study all the laws and the prophets. If you are a so-called scholar and a spiritual teacher, you must understand the lessons from the East. There ain't no spookism, no devil worship. Zoroastrianism, Noble Drew Ali studied all this just like I had to. Don't you know Zoroastrianism was before a lot of these organized religions? All it takes is a little research. It take a tittle of research. But Zoroastrianism believed in many gods, which we all should do. Zoroastrianism also put themselves God and man as one. Zoroastrianism and back. Duality. So you got to check yourself at the door before you just listen to somebody with spookism. And they don't study nothing. They just want to diss. We don't got time for that, man. We righteous people. We don't got time for no spookism. We don't. We talking about one teaching, one law, one word. That biblical scripture ain't, no white man ain't writ that. I gotta say what I gotta say. I gotta say what I gotta say, because the only way I can be clear is use the right words. Negro, black, and colors, and a lot of Moors, they confusing people. Talking about the Bible is about some white man. Bull crap. The Bible is the only, it proves that the Asiatic man is the father of civilization, proven by biblical history. I done did these lectures over and over. I give you all the scriptures. That's why they don't want to talk about the genealogy of Yahshua the Messiah. Wasn't Jesus, which is Yahshua, from the tribe of Judah? Wasn't Mary from the tribe of Judah? Tamar, all these Asiatic women, all these Moabites and Canaanites. You can read in the scriptures in Deuteronomy, that's some homework, where it says a Canaanite can't enter the kingdom of heaven. You got to have all the text. You can't just read something somebody give to you. It's too much. And I'm not going to pull everything out. I'm going to pull two things out. I'm not going to put all the Hebrew scriptures out. I'm not going to do that anymore. Because I tell brothers and sisters, man, a lot of brothers and sisters is lazy. A lot of brothers and sisters is lazy. They say they want to study. They say they want to do this. And they going, and I'm right here. I know so many people where I'm at in Arizona. They say they want to study. I teach classes 3 days a week at the YMCA. I have my own temple at the YMCA. And it's all other nationalities. And we all winning. Don't you know you got the Old Testament Apocrypha? The Old Testament Apocrypha. And you got the New Testament Apocrypha. I mean, I don't know what people be talking about. I love my brothers and sisters. I love my Hebrew Israelites. But when they always talking about some white man, I say, man, you ain't read text, and you definitely are not reading the etymology of them words. Let me see if I can find this real quick in Maccabees. If I don't have a highlight, I'm going to get back to my, you know what? I'm going to do that later or tomorrow when I clear up some spookism. I think it's in Maccabees with a lot of my Hebrew Israelite brothers. They come with the wrong energy. They come with the wrong energy. And it's talking about going back under the Gentiles. And it's saying, since we left the Gentiles ruling, we've been in, we had terrible times. But that wasn't us. Those were Greeks. They were saying that. That wasn't you. And you out there arguing with people. It don't even make sense, man. It don't even make sense. So let me put my stuff back for my empress kick my butt. And we're going to get into this teaching. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Because I don't think brothers study. I really don't. I really don't think brothers study. When I tell Moors about this right here, the book Gad and Seer, when brothers be so caught up, well, I'm a Muslim. I'm like, okay, well, that ain't got nothing to do with you. And they're rerunning the story. They saying Muhammad wasn't your color. Read the hadith. They saying Muhammad was tall and white. That's false doctrine. It's rewritten. The ancient scriptures, the ancient writings say he was short and brown from all people. You got to read the book Gad and Seer where you know what replacement theology is. It tells you that more intriguing than that, it actually reveals who Mystery Babylon is and how it tries to destroy the Hebrews through a union with Islam. Both groups have different replacement theologies. You got to read this. What's replacement theology? Italian. That's Caesar Borgia. Research that. You can get all the books. Go on Amazon. Depend to tell you who Caesar Borgia is. And in the Greek, you got Serapis Christos from Alexander the Greek by force. How did he get to Africa or Kibalan? The Egon Sea. I'm going to show you. I'm going to get the 1828 Webster Dictionary. You got to do the science. You got to do the connection. If you don't know landmass, you need to sit down and stop lying to people. I'm going to bring a couple out for clarity. I got to bring things out for clarity, and then we're going to get into teaching. Ask your preacher, ask anybody, do they know what the Old Testament pseudographia is? No, because they don't study the history and the teachings of the Bible. They don't know. They don't read. They don't study. This is nothing new. You got the ancient cedar ohms. The Bible speaks of it. Didn't you read this in the book of Yasher? All this stuff you should know that connect a lot of dots. The book of Yasher. In the biblical text, it says, didn't you read this in the book of Yasher? The ancient book of Yasher is one of the books. They say it's 13, but I got plenty more that still exist. It is referenced in Joshua 10 and 13, 2 Samuel 1 and 18, and 2 Timothy 3 and 8. Right? Of course. Empress, if you can't find an 1828 Webster Dictionary, I can send it to you. Go on Amazon. If you can't find it on Amazon, I have plenty books. Empress, I have every book. Any book, I'm part of the Philosophical Society. Any book that you can't get, I can get it. But what I tell people, a lot of this stuff is part of my business. So if you can find it on your own, that's great. But I can't sell something to somebody and don't make a profit. And I don't make a lot of profit. I make change on that because this is part of my business. This is part of my conglomerate. So if you can't find things on your own, I can get them to you for just a smaller fee because this is part of my business. And that's what I tell Moors. I don't care about color. Most of the people that deal with me are people from all over. All my books sell. That's why I don't care about promoting them. I have so many teachers and professors, scholars, religious people. They buy all my books. So it doesn't matter. But if you can't find them, Empress, I can get it to you for just a small extra fee, maybe like $10 or something. Most preachers not going to tell you about the Nag Hammadiyyas. They're not going to tell you about that. They're not going to tell you about this stuff. They're not going to tell you about the Pentateuch, and the Haftarahs. They're not going to tell you about that. They're not going to tell you about the Book of Knowledge, which is the Maimonides. When people talk about the 42 laws of Mayat, that's great. But don't you know it was 613 misras? 613 misras, the precepts, divine commandments. Research it. Now let me put this stuff back for my Empress kick my butt. Give me a second, because I'll be making a mess, y'all. I just have to always give reference. Because like I say, when I did my dissertation and things, you have to prove it from a scholarly aspect. No matter what your religion is, you must prove the facts. And that's what I do. So hold on. Got to put all my stuff back. Hold on. I want to show you more of something else. Moors be this in this book right here. See, I study everything. This is the Holy Book, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, the Pearl of the Great Price. And this book talks about all Moors. That's why they don't tell you. They tell you. It's the date they tell you. And in this book, you got to read through all the red lines. You got to read it. The Mormons know. They know. But they ain't going to tell you. But I tell you. because I teach a lot of them and I illuminate biblical scripture. I'm telling you, man. Let's see. I got one more thing I'm gonna show you, then we're gonna get into this teaching. Where this book at? Here we go. This right here, The History of the American Indian by James Adair. It tell you that the Indians were some of the Israelites. You don't gotta listen to me. They pen to tell you. Research the science, man. I read too many books and did too many research, geographical and Carmen Dayton, to believe any book that I've read. I must research the source. I must research the time period, the language, the dispensation. Period. It's right here. I mean, from the mid-17th to the early 19th century, the Native Americans were directly descended from the Israelites of the ancient times was a popular phenomenon. Many scholars postulate that the Book of Mormon, which I just showed you, listen, many scholars postulate that the Book of Mormon was partly inspired by Adair's work. I'm going to show you something else. Watch this. Watch this. I'm going to show you something else. Let's see. Where it's at? Where's my book at? I got so much stuff, man. I don't know. Here we go. This science right here. The View of the Hebrews. This is where John Smith got a lot of his information when he wrote the Book of Mormon. But see, most brothers and sisters not scholars. I can take you all the way back to when a man walked the earth, when he checked out these writings, when he wrote the Book of Mormon. You got to get out your feelings and do research. The View of the Hebrews. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. These are ancient books. I got all of them because I love to do research. This is who I am. I'm a teacher. I'm a lecturer. I'm an Abba. I'm a Buddha. Whatever you want to call me, I'm an adapt. Come on, man. We playing. We playing, man. That's what we doing. So let's get into this teaching, man. Without further ado, let's get into this science. Because I like to call it science, things that can be proven, not spookism. So, what is a Muslim? When I talk about what's above has to match below, what is this fez all about? If you follow me, I done told you more what this fez all about and what it represents. We don't wear this fez in clandestine. Muslim, I'm gonna break it down each letter. The M is muscles. The O is organs. The S is skin. The L is light. The E is electricity. The M is magnetism. Just like I, self, law, and master. Just like arm, leg, arm, head. Come on, man. Manifestation of man, creation. What's above has to match what's below. But we still dealing with spookism. So let's put some more in the atmosphere. Because we got to teach, man. We ain't got time to be playing with nobody with this false doctrine, saying that the Bible is some white man Bible and all that. And I laugh at people because they don't study, they don't read, they don't know language, they don't study etymology, they don't study linguistics. They just want to diss something. So I don't care if a Moor have a fez on, a turban, a bonnet, whatever. If you're not righteous, I ain't dealing with you. I'm not dealing with you. Period. And I'm serious, man. Our own people are the ones that's so ignorant. When I go other places with all different nationalities, they know who we are through history. That's why I'm welcome in all religious places, temples, mosques. I have imams that I teach. I have preachers that I teach from the right perspective. I have Buddhists. I deal with my Tuahido people in California. I teach the truth of the essence of the scriptures, period. So I hereby inform all members. And see, I'm reading the divine warning by the prophet Noble Drew Ali. Yes, you are Moor. I know a lot of Moors, but are you part of the Moorish Science Temple of America? We're gonna touch this. And what's the difference from being a Moorish Science Temple of America and just doing things on your own? Remember, just because a person is part of the Moorish Science Temple don't mean they right. You must check the type, just like you check when you get into a relationship. So let's dig. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical, agitating speeches while at work or in the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Ask any more, do they understand what the triple roll of the adapt chamber is? I bet you they don't. That's understanding all the religious rights, the essence of them. But we're not going to deal with it. We just going to be arguing. That's why most of the Moors, they try to make money off of you. Not me. I have a profession. So we're going to dig. Any member who or groups of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet. That's exoteric and exoteric. If you don't know what that means, you should ask questions and then study and study and study. That's like if a person tell you to study, they don't tell you what to study. How you going to pass a test? If I tell you, you under my class, you under my auspice, and I say, we got a test tomorrow. And I say, study. Study what? The reason why people use that because they don't know. They're going to come with their arbitrary perspective, their connotated perspective to get you under some religious dogma. Period. But any member who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet or violate the divine covenant, ask any more what's the divine covenant. I got the books. I put them together. I just did a lecture last week in Vegas. Man, we sold 300 books. We sold 300 books. So it don't make me no difference. What's the divine covenant of Moorish movement? Ask a Moor. A Moor should know this. A Moor should know the 101s. If you study the 101s, you know what I'm talking about. But most don't. They just say, oh, the 101s and all this. But they ain't reading it. They ain't studying it. It ain't inside of them. So we're going to call it out, man, what it is, man. No Moor should be saying different stuff if they are Moor and part of the Moorish Science Temple of America and they studying the lessons and the teachings. Period. But if they violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deed. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. The law as laid down to them by their prophet. We are law-abiding people, man. If they lose confidence in the prophet, they should turn in their car, button, cease turban and fez, and return to the state where I found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Drew Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out a divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting the temple. Moors, I'm telling you, when I do lectures at college campuses, all nationalities know the history of this. They know about the war of Ferdinand and Isabella. Nothing was hidden. It was in the libraries. You just didn't go study it. You just didn't go study it. It's too much literature. It's too much history. I'm telling you. Just like the sacred drift of Peter Lambert. When I tell Moors, I say, man, y'all, it's too much literature on the prophet. People hid the man from history. The prophet studied in Egypt. He was Dr. Drew. I mean, I don't really be understanding what people be going around talking about. They're just trying to get you in trouble. Like somebody, they don't even know what the vast estate is. They don't even know what, you ain't no sovereign. That bull crap out of here, man. You ain't no sovereign. If any more tell you that, they on some garbage. If you go on my page, I told you that UCC and that UCC1 is bull crap. But we just get excited. Remove your feelings, man. So let's put prayer for positivity out here. I pray that I think peace, speak peace, and that I am peace. I pray that I think truth, speak truth, and that I am truth. I pray that I think love, speak love, and that I am love. I pray everything I attract. I pray everything you attract carries high, harmonious vibrations and intentions. May the light within me, may the light within you serve as a beacon for those that need it. Shalom Alakim, Aya Asha Aya, Assalamu Alaikum. Whatever you praise his name. Also in the Quran, both the Moorish Quran and the Quran of Mecca, it tells you a prophet come in the voice of the people. Do you want to learn language? Absolutely, to help you so you can't get connotated or get caught up in linguistic apartheid. But a prophet came in a voice for you can understand. That's what a Messiah is. So we finna dig with Brothers Best, because the questions come up to me. It was like, oh, is some camp that just print IDs? And I say, hey, that's fine and dandy. Yes, you are more when you proclaim it. But it's more than proclaiming. If something happened and then you say, okay, well, prove it that you are more part of the Moorish Science Temple. Where your due process? And Moore is pulling out ID cards from all these other things. Like I say, If questions asked to me, I got to explain it. A card, being a part of Moorish Science Temple don't make you right. You make you right. But when Moorish diss the Moorish Science Temple of America, I say, have you been to one? No. Do you know any Moors that part of the temple? No. All you get stuff is off the internet and YouTube bashing. That's bull crap. That's bull crap. So I'm nationalized through the Moorish Science Temple of America, part of Bali Politic. I live in Arizona. I'm from Flint, Michigan. I tell all Moors, it's your right to nationalize through the Moorish Science Temple. Everything costs. If somebody doing paperwork in, just like when you get licensed and all that stuff, don't it cost? And if something dear to you, you should investigate it, make sure it's right, and then do what you're supposed to do. So we gonna dig, man. We gonna dig. A lot of brothers just printing cards and all that with this tribe and stuff on there. It's only one nationality with many cultures. Yeah, the temple nationalized you. Exactly. The temple does nationalize you. The right ones, the consulate. If any Moorish Science Temple you go to in any city, if they ain't nationalize you, they ain't under the right auspices. I promise you. They ain't recognized as a Bali Politic. Noble Ali established the temple with an affidavit. Period. We got tax ID number, everything. True Moors, that's part of the Moorish Science Temple, know what I'm talking about. Our travel identification card, not no license. Travel identification card. What that mean? If you going somewhere, here go my identification card. I'm traveling. Didn't say driving. You getting caught up. Our tax exempt card, because the Moorish Science Temple of America do have a tax exempt number. Noble Drew Ali set the temple up as a religious organization. Period. And here are our nationality cards. Period, Moors. Another card. I'm going to read it for you don't get caught up in no spookism. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot I was on YouTube. My brother I ain't see. I'm showing this for my brothers and sisters. Not to be like you so privileged. It's so much stuff on the back of our cards that mean things. It's stuff on the back of our cards, every one that means something. More should know every back of these cards that mean things. I'm telling you, man. It's stuff on here that's very vitally important for you to know. Let me see if I got it up here. Give me 1 second, family. So we're gonna demonstrate anything. And then you go back and ask questions to make sure somebody telling you what's right. Man, what I do with it? I don't know what I did with it. Hold on, this might be it right here. Oh, yep. Here it is. This is our Moorish American National Republic Education Department, the Moorish School of Law and History. When I tell you, it's something on here. This tell you explicitly what's all on our cards. I'm gonna show you, Empress. Yeah, I'm gonna show you. I'm about to show you all. I'm about to show you everything, Empress. I'm about to show you everything. Everything. So you will know. It's something on the back of our card that mean thing. The national and identification card, front and back. Let me show you something. You see that? If you don't have this information, I can get it to you for a fee. Or if you can find it yourself, then you don't pay nothing. I'm going to show you. Watch. Empress, you can get your birth certificate online from where that's temple. But I'm going to show you. Remember, the more signs you get adopted. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you everything. The national and identification card, front of the card, where stuff on it, the Constitution of the United States, guaranteed to protect a citizen's property. You may try to use the 14th Amendment for protection, but that is useless because the fourth paragraph let the cat out the bag, Morris. It clearly states that the slave holders never got paid for you, making you steal their property. And the only way that you can be free from the slaveholder, the executive will of President Abraham Lincoln, must be carried out Emancipation Proclamation on September 22nd, 1862. You became federal property. The government will change your status. Look how long they've been changing your status. Negro, black, African American, colored. Set up free and citizens out of you so you can enjoy the blessings of the Constitution of the United States. It's so much stuff that's on that card. Period. Now, the next thing. This is your nationality and ID card, identification card for the Moorish Science Temple of America and birthrights of the Moorish Americans, etc. We honor all the divine prophets, Jesus, which is Yahshua, Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius. So if anybody are Moor and they dissing biblical teachings of the scriptures, they ain't studying. May the blessings of the God, our Father, Allah, be upon you that carry this card. I do by declare that you are a Muslim under the divine laws of the Quran of Mecca. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I am a citizen of the U.S. Noble Drew Ali, 5933 West Madison, Chicago, Illinois. Telling you, man. Somebody telling you to study, and Moore is just lying to people. So I'm going to show you the rest of your paperwork when you get nationalized through the Moorish Science Temple, which is your right. I got nationalized through the Moorish Science Temple of Chicago. I was doing it here, but I was going to do a teaching in Chicago, so I went to the consulate Temple of Chicago, did my process, paid my little fee. It is what it is. So I'm going to show you our first paperwork that come with your nationalization papers and everything when you become a Moor, which is your birthright. I'm going to show you this. I'm going to show you this. Muslim missionary certificate. When I tell people I'm a missionary, I go do my missionary work. Supreme Grand Body and Supreme Grand Council of the Moorish Science Temple of America and Mecca have been vested with sovereign powers by the great God Allah and his illustrious prophet Noble Drew Ali to confirm degrees of a Muslim of the West to a person or person that has been raised 180 degrees from a shadow grave, son of a widow in the North Gate. That's why them European Masons, they ain't gonna tell you that they the widow's son. They taking all your birthrights. But I ain't got time to be just saying the same thing over and over. I, Noble Khari Goodman Bey, my obligation as a Muslim missionary by free will, the obligation of the nobility of the elect of the Moorish Science Temple of America, teaching the Asiatics of North, South, and Central America to love instead of hate. As I travel the burning sands from the east to the west in 39 celestial steps with my staff of comfort, my companion, the beast of burden, and my Hebrew masters, logos of perfection, I do hereby, upon my holy Quran, circle 7, demonstrate my degrees to raise fallen humanity from its imperfections with degrees of social duties, justice, charity, gratitude, and sincerity. In my travels, Allah guide my feet in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I shall not give ear to falsehood, hypocrisy, and deceit. That's why I clear spookism. This is our job. As I travel the burning sands, I possess my charter of warrant and my dispensation, my authority to pass through all ports unmolested with my divine rights and privileges. All son of a Muslim must hold true to its obligation to nobles, Muslims, and Mohammedans by words and deeds. This stuff is in the Library of Congress. This just one. This just one. This just one. So when you getting them ID cards from people, you ain't part of nobody politic, because it's not the Moorish Science Temple of America. It's whatever they call it. Check the resources. People just want to have some card like that's going to get you out of something. You're the only one that gets you out of it. I tell Moors every day, you have the keys to salvation already in your hand. Here go our baptism certificate. When I be hearing more, you don't know nothing you talking about. Here go our baptism certificate. Let me read it. Moorish Science Temple. Oh, matter of fact, if you can see all the seals that's on the bottom of our paperwork, you can see the seals on the bottom of our paperwork. So let me go to the other part. Moorish Science Temple of America, baptism certificate. You see on here it says redeemed surety bond. Can you see that on there? Can you see that right there? Can you see that? Can you see that? I hope you can see that. So let me read it to you. Address in Chicago, 259 North Pulaski Road, Chicago, Illinois. Name given at birth, Khari Hakeem Goodman. Free national name given at baptism, Noble Khari Bey. True race, Asiatic. Nationality, Moorish American. Religion, Islamism. Date of convenience, when I did my nationality, 10/20/2016. Our CCRD doc number, 10105905. Y'all got to know what that means. I hope y'all know. Status, free white person. Y'all don't even understand what I'm saying. Status, free white person. I told you, white ain't nothing but a legal status. I don't have to talk more science. I can talk history. Let me show you. White by law. Y'all don't even know what that's all about. It's a status, but who am I? Who am I? I'm just a humble servant. I'm just a humble servant. Birth certificate, surety bond. 109, my birth date, redeemed surety bond, my mother name, my dad name. One that possesses this baptism certificate has been redeemed by illustrious Prophet Noble Drew Ali and delivered by a fee simple absolute deed that restored all birthrights and property. Didn't give you done that restored all birthrights and property. Said person has been revoked from the St. Peter's Trust and the Magna Carta Charter Christian enrollment that held my person in bondage. I'm a Muslim of the West, a descendant of Moroccans, and born here in America. You at home. We, the Supreme Grand Body, bestow privileges and benefits and grant dispensation of said person by birthrights and original inhabitant of North and Southwest shores of Amexima. You see that 1010? You see our number, that 1010-5905 on the bottom? Can you see it? Can you see it? I hope you can. Don't let nobody get you connotated no spookism. I'm going to keep going. We got more. We got more, man. But I got to put everything up the right way. Because my emperor's going to kick my butt. It's going to be, we're going to have two parts today, like I always do, because I'm not in no rush. This ain't no preacher in a wrong connotation trying to rush you out of there and you not ask no questions. I want you to ask questions. I'm a teacher. I tell you, when I'm talking about anything, I hope you have pens and paper. I hope so. So the next part, let's deal with. So when somebody telling you they're going to give you some paperwork or they're going to just print you some cards and then tell you to do everything on your own. No, the temple does everything. By the powers of this decree, it is so ordered and commanded by our illustrious prophet, Noble Drew Ali, to register all Muslims of the house of Bey to their title of nobility, pursuant to Leviticus 25:10. By the powers of this decree, it is so ordered and commanded by our illustrious prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Moorish Americans are of the royal house of Judah, descendants of King David. So if you know that right there, which is on our paperwork, how you dissing the biblical scriptures if you ain't studied them? And then you call yourself a Moor. Somebody talk to me. Somebody talk to me. I just read it. By the powers of this decree, it is so ordered and commanded by our illustrious prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Moorish Americans are of the royal house of Judah, descendants of King David. And that's just the introduction. I ain't even finished reading. I'm at the top of the page. Fee, a simple absolute deed. The inhabitants of Africa are the descendants of the ancient Canaanites from the land of Canaan. Old man Cush and his family are the first inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan. His father Ham and his family were second. Then came the word Ethiopia, which means the demarcation line of the dominion of Amexima, the first true and divine name of Africa. Excuse me. And when he say that, I always do correction. Yeah, if it depends on your language or your tongue. Come on, man, because Africa wasn't named after no European. The dividing of the land between the father and the son, the dominion of Cush, north, east, and southeast Africa, and northwest and southwest was his father's dominion of Africa. In later years, many of their brethren from Asia and Holy Lands joined them. The Moabites from the land of Moab, who received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle and inhabit North Africa. They were the founders and are the true possessors of the present Morocco Empire. With their Canaanite, Hittite, and Amorite, he ain't just talking about one. Listen to all the tribes. One nationality, many tribes. With their Canaanite, Hittite, Levite, and Amorite brethren, who sojourned from the land of Canaan, seeking new homes. Their dominion and habitation extended from northeast, southwest Africa, across Great Atlantis, even unto the present North, South, and Central America, and also Mexico and the Atlantis Islands, before the great earthquake which caused Great Atlantic Ocean. Get a book called America BC. When I talk about Pangea, when you understand how different animals that's not indigenous to the land got there. How you think they got there? That's a simple question. Our oath of amnesty, United States of America, Free National Republic, 1774, U.S. President Abraham Lincoln, 1863. Here go our amnesty oath. I'm going to read that to you. Exactly, Empress. They only want to deal with certain aspects because they limited. And they're not studying all. I teach it all. It's a holy and divine. And the divine comes first. The other part is second. When you understand the divine, you understand that you have the keys. Let's read this. Let's read our amnesty oath. I, Khari Goodman Bey, do solemnly affirm in the presence of Almighty God that I will henceforth faithfully support, protect, and defend and the Constitution of the United States and the Union of the States thereunder, and that I will, in like manner, abide by and faithfully support all acts of Congress passed during the existing rebellion with reference to slaves, so far as not repealed, modified, or held void by Congress or by decision of the Supreme Court, and that I will, in like manner, abide by and faithfully support all proclamations of the President made during the existing rebellion having reference to slaves, so far as not modified or declared void by decision of the Supreme Court. So help me God. So the next thing you got to look up, what's an amnesty oath? I'm telling you, you gotta know. But people just going around, like I said, why do we want to destroy something that's already been done? People just making up cards about, I print cards for this to this. You ain't part of nothing. That's just like if I print you a card for my school, because all my students, just like you get an ID for your college or whatever. I tell my brothers and sisters, yes, I'm a Moor, nationalized, but I also have a school because I'm a business, and I give ID cards for my school. But my school ID don't make you no more part of the Moorish Science Temple of America, period. So we're going to get to our next piece of paperwork. This is our dispensation, noble decree. I'll read the dispensation first. My 720 dispensation. I'll read that to you. We, the Supreme Grand Body and Council of the Moorish Science Temple of America, deriving its power and authority from the great God Allah and his prophet Noble Drew Ali, whom Allah has sent to redeem his people, the fallen sons and daughters of the Asiatic nation of North America. The said Supreme Grand Body and Council is authorized and empowered to initiate and confer degrees of said temple upon any person or persons duly proposed, qualified. That's why when Noble Drew Ali set the temple up, he crossed out elected, right? And appointed, because there's supposed to be some under that fez and that turban, and approved in accordance with the established forms usage of the laws and edicts of the illustrious Prophet Noble Drew Ali and the Moorish Science Temple of America. That's all over. No temple should be saying something different than what I'm saying. If they are, that's their own thing. It's dogma. It's jurisdiction to administer to all true members all the privileges and benefits to all Muslims of the West. Noble Khari Goodman Bey. 720 degrees is hereby granted dispensation of said debt as heirs to the vast estate and express trust of Noble Drew Ali in the dominion of Kush, northeast and southeast Africa, and northwest and southwest was his father's dominion of Africa. Old man Kush and his family are the first inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan, pursuant to U.S. Department of Justice, BM, SHR 1WD 144-35-0 agreement. You ain't got to listen to me. Empress. See, and that's why, and I'm glad, that's why I love when an Empress come on here, because you ask all the right questions. You got if it ain't what Noble Drew Ali set up, it's null and void. Remember, in 2010, Obama said you have a right of a nationality and a right to change it. That's your right. But are you part of the Moorish Science Temple of America? I know many people. I have a friend that's a different color than me. She's from Bosnia. She claimed her Bosnian nationality. So we got to get things right, man. We got to get things right. So I'm going to give you my 720, my Allah, my noble decree. Here go my other noble decree. You're going to read it all, man. We, the Supreme Grand Body and the Grand Council of the Moorish Science Temple of America, granted sovereign powers by the great God Allah and all his illustrious Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Greetings to whom it may concern. By the powers of this charter of warrant and dispensation, this Supreme Grand Body bestow a title of nobility to member Khari Hakeem Goodman Bey, that is descended from the royal house of Judah and the house of David, By the powers of this decree, it is so ordered and commanded by our illustrious Prophet Noble Drew Ali, agents of Christian Church, which is the Vatican, or any of its corporations in the Roman Curia, can't molest, trespass, or violate our divine rights granted by the great God Allah. By the powers of this decree, it is so ordered and commanded by our illustrious Prophet Noble Drew Ali to register all nobles of the house of El to their title of nobility pursuant to Leviticus 25:10. When I'm telling you, Moors, I'm El Bey. I'm the judge and a ruler and an executioner. But we ain't got to go there. By the power of this decree, it is so ordered and commanded by our illustrious prophet, Noble Drew Ali, pursuant to our authority. All Moorish Americans are exempt from prosecution except for murder or rape. But you got to know what that's all about. That don't mean you can just go out and commit a crime. That ain't what it's saying. That's why I said I don't like to go with advanced civics with certain people, because they get themselves in trouble. It's prereqs, man. Everybody want to do things on their own, but they don't want to come together and do it. How do you nationalize through the temple? Empress, I give all the numbers to the temples in Chicago, everywhere. But a lot of times you get nationalized like when a Moor was studying. Remember Noble Drew Ali said, if you don't do anything when you go to the temple, get nationalized. You don't have to go through nobody's religious dogma if they're not teaching right. Noble Drew Ali told you, if you don't do anything, get nationalized. And if you go to a temple as an Asiatic brother and sister and they won't nationalize you, shame on them. Shame on them. Period. I know some temples that ain't right. They practice dogma. They telling people that they some Arab Muslims or some bull crap. I speak Arabic. So that means you're Arab per se. I speak the Jewish language from Yiddish to all that. All that means is you just believe the language and the religion. It got nothing to do with nationality. Empress, a lot of stuff is spookism. I promise you. A lot of stuff is spookism. People want to get you scared because they want to use their own things to make you do something or pay something. I promise you. They don't even know what really FEMA camp. They don't even know the history of none of that. They're just going around. If this happened, you got nothing, you're going to go to the FEMA camp. Man, they can do whatever they want to if they want to do it. They can do whatever they want to if they want to do it. Treaty was broken. Everything was broken. You think some ID card going to make you right? The ID card don't make you right. It's your due process. You got to be part of said body politic, which is recognized. The Library of Congress, the register in Chicago, Illinois, with an affidavit. So when people be nationalized anywhere else, look up and see if you part of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and if you part of this body politic. That's all you got to do. Our other piece of paperwork, our House of Bey, title of nobility, 720 Moorish American Muslim. That's another piece of paperwork. That's another piece of paperwork. And here go another one. What you say, Empress? Okay, because I have a daughter and grandson to look after. Exactly. And I tell everybody, you should nationalize. Why wouldn't you? Do all the research just like I did. Moorish, I was studying for years. I was already a teacher, you know, when I came into the Moorish science. But I studied and made sure it was right. I kind of got caught up in my lower self when I'm looking at the people that's there in Chicago. I'm like, oh, they not right. You know, as far as how they dress and what they look like and what they're teaching. But they can't deny you your birthrights. And once you become nationalized, you can go to any temple you want. That's why Noble Drew Ali said, don't destroy the temple, make it right. Become nationalized and create your own. And that's what I've done. And so I'm asking more to be part of this temple. I'm a real organization, man. We can really change the world. I teach all over. Here go our other one, our 720 dispensation. Did I show you that? May Allah blessings and protection always be upon the House of Bey, title of nobility, certificate, Noble Khari Goodman Bey, register of the Noble House of Bey, a descendant of the Royal House of Judah. Descendant of the Royal House of Judah. So why somebody dissing biblical scriptures? Because they ain't studying, and they damn sure ain't reading their Quran. Empress, if it ain't a temple in Ohio, which it should be, you can go right to it and get nationalized. If they telling you some other stuff, that's bullcrap. Or then I'll give you the number to Chicago, call a temple to Chicago, and you tell them like, hey man, I'm trying to get nationalized through the temple in Ohio, but they pulling out a red line. You can do it. I'm gonna show you our other paperwork. You see all this paperwork come? Every Moor that's nationalized through the Moorish Science Temple of America, they have this. Any other thing, I don't know nothing about. I ain't here to talk about no other camps because I don't deal with lower volume. I don't deal with hate. I don't know nothing about no other body camps. I don't know nothing about nobody making no ID. If it ain't a part of the Moorish Science Temple, I ain't dealing with it. Yeah, you can be righteous, but I ain't finna make up no card and be selling to nobody talk about I'm printing nationality cards. How can I print a nationality card? How can a Moor print a nationality card? How can a Negro with a fez print you a nationality card? You got to tell me. That's supposed to come from your state or your tribe. Period. So I'm finna show you more paperwork. Prepare by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Grand Sheiks Alonzo Walton L. Moorish Science Temple of America, International Consulate of American Moors. Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali is the founder. 259 North Pulaski Road, Chicago, Illinois Republic. Phone number 312-966-1770 or 318-946-0656. 10-10-5905. Leviticus 25:10. Remember, Moors, I have to tread lightly because I was looking at these brothers and sisters. I'm like, oh, they ain't teaching right, man. They destroying, they level of wisdom is not all the way there. But you go through the right things to be nationalized and you let that go. And you stand on your square. Because your own kind will put you back in slavery. Didn't the prophet tell you that? Didn't the prophet tell you that this Moors out here teaching false doctrine? Just because you have on this don't mean nothing to me. Just because you wear a turban don't mean nothing to me. Just because you wear a bonnet don't mean nothing to me. Just because you have this don't mean nothing to me. And just because you nationalize through the temple damn sure don't mean nothing to me if you ain't right within. It's flat out. Period. Amendment for Khari Hakeem Goodman Bey, Department of Defense, File 117. Resolution to make amendment to religious corporations affidavits of organization, document 10-10-5905. Whereas Moorish Americans are trust corpus of the Holy Prophet Drew Ali. 1928, fee simple absolute vast estate irrevocable express trust. Whereas Moorish Americans are the fiduciary, the trustee, and the beneficiaries of all said trust property. Whereas we are divine Moorish consulate post for the affairs of the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali and the Moorish Science Temple of America. But Negroes always want to diss something. How you gonna diss something that's the consulate? Come on, man, we on some dumb stuff. That's one piece. You get what you're supposed to get, you get nationalized, and you teach the right way. Like I told Moors, I ain't for everyone. I'm for the ones that want the truth. And the truth has no size. Study it. I don't try to tell nobody to believe in me. I don't arbitrarily explain nothing. I don't connotate nothing. I don't try to get nobody in linguistic apartheid. I give you everything, and I tell you, get a pen. Moorish Science Temple of America, our International Consulate of Americas, the ecclesiastical body, politic, and local government, Moorish Bureau of Enrollment and Affairs. Moorish Bureau of Enrollment and Affairs. You can look this up and see all the Moors that's nationalized through the temple. State of Illinois Republic, Cook County is northwest of Maxima. Moorish allodial title, deed, commercial affidavit, or convenience, adoption, and enrollment. I solemnly affirm that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali and Moorish Science Temple of America, as holder in due course and claimants of equity and fee simple absolute of the north and southwest of Maxima, has redeemed me as a creditor. Subscribed and sworn before, the dates, all that, blah, blah, blah. This affidavit proved that I am a beneficiary and heir to the present Moroccan Moorish Empire. In other words, it makes me landlord and creditor of fee simple absolute. Islam, the Europeans have been the custodians over the government and lands. Our ancestors had given them the authority until we woke up from a long sleep. That's why they wear the fez and clandestine. Man, everywhere I go when I have my turban, when I had a turban, the fez, and the bonnet, all Europeans know. They don't say, are you no Muslim? No. They know what this is all about. But it's only Negroes that have a problem. And I don't deal with that crap. I don't deal with it. Divine Constitution and Bylaws, Act 6. I hope you read that. I don't got time to read all that. No, it can't be done online. If some say it can, tell them to show. You got to deal with the Moorish Science Temple of America. That's why I tell when people are talking about research the temple and how to nationalize. Just don't get caught up because somebody said you can do something online. We always want a quick fix. It's never a quick fix. You got to deal with the Moorish Science Temple of America and a consulate. You got to deal with them. If you can look up online, call them. Make sure it's the right. Make sure everything that they're saying is valid. So if it's something online, research it. Make sure it's right. Egypt, the capital empire of the dominion of Africa, beneficiary conditions of fee simple absolute vast estate. I ain't even got time to read all that. I'm not going to do that. But we do have a tax identification number. Period. Here's our certificate of adoption. So if a Moor saying they nationalized through the Moorish Science Temple of America and they don't have all this, they just created something. And I tell you, it's easy just to create something. But why you want to do something, create something, you ain't part of body politics when the chips fall? And a person lying to you. You should ask all the questions. This is our certificate of adoption. Let me read it. Claim of an adoption by proclamation of free national name and nationality. Print, diluted full name, Kari Hakeem Goodman, on the birth date of the 19th, which is my birth date, day in the month of January. In my year, I was born in 77. At the time of, which was PM, the time I did all this, then my race was black, has been adopted by claimant and proclaimed the race Asiatic, nationality, Moorish American, and free simple national name, Bay. When some more tell you get rid of your last name, you don't get rid of your last name. If you get rid of your last name, you're not baying your mother and your father. How you gonna get rid of your last name? You put your suffix on it or your nobility. For this trust corpus is with the proclamation by the claim of this person. What you say, Empress? I will call and see. I don't know everything, so may I ask you to make sure it's legit? Absolutely, Empress. See, I love Empress. Well, I'm telling you, Empress. That's what I tell people. Just like, for instance, like when I tell people, especially I know so many Moors that's getting in trouble. They going to court and they got European lawyers and so-called Jewish lawyers, and I say, man, I thought you was a Moor. Who's your legal counsel? Everything can be free for some people. So when I do legal counsel, I get paid. But for you, Empress, of course I will look over the thing, because that's what we all should do. If you want to be part of it, of course I will look over everything and be like, yep, ask on this, ask on that, ask on this, ask on that, ask on this, ask that, ask this, ask that. Born in the city of Hillsborough, in the county of Hillsborough, in the county of United States, in the Union States of America, by these parents and parties, my mother name, blah, 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 blah. For the person adopted by claimant is with the claim, transfer of rights and interest of the birth certificate number, grantor TR number, and that was my birth certificate number. Your adoption papers. I'm telling you, man. If somebody telling you, look, let me tell you how simple stuff when so-called people throw stuff right in your face. When you go get toys and things, they talk about you adopting a dog or you adopting a Build-A-Bear, all that stuff. They throwing stuff right in your face. They adopted you out of something that wasn't you from the first place. Here go my certificate of enrollment. Certificate of enrollment. I'll read that. In accordance with the true policy of Noble Drew Ali, President Abraham Lincoln, and Andrew Jackson, this document exists as a certification that the individual indicated below proclamation with alliance to the Republic Constitution of the United States of America, including the 13th Amendment with 20 sections and the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic nation. This individual has also proclaimed a free national name, race, nationality, and religion as follows. Once again, my title, Noble K. Goodman Bay, race Asiatic, my birth date, my date of proclamation, the location of proclamation, Chicago, Illinois, nationality, Moorish American, place of birth, I was born in Florida, my religion, old time Islamism, just like what Sufism is, which is the true Islam. But no more, not going to tell you that because they lying to you. The free national name, Bay, must be annexed, which means placed next to, as a suffix to your so-called birth name, or they like to say slave name, your family last name of the individual in all public and private records. In all public and private records. Everything, Kari Hakeem Goodman Bay, when you sign things. But that's more teaching, man. That's more teaching, y'all. So we got that clear. We cleared that up. What you say, Empress? Say, I didn't do it years ago because someone wanted to charge me. See, I love my Empress. I'm gonna read this. This is what the Empress saying. I didn't do it years ago because someone wanted to charge me $10,000 to nationalize. I was willing to pay for it, but my spirit said not to at the time. Glad I didn't, because you would have got finesse. That don't cost you no damn $10,000. Excuse my language. Most times it costs you $250. Now that's a process, and that's just for processing your paper for the people to do the work for you. If anybody tell you it costs more than some 10 grand or more than 250 or whatever, that's bull crap. So this finna end, and we get ready to kick the science about the lecture today. So log back in. I'll give everybody a second to log back in. We finna kick the science. Peace.